$55 billion.
So far.
Over 1,000
contracts
1 month. Have been canceled. And I think that the number is only going to go up, Ainsley.
Yeah, and he's even showing an interest in the idea of guaranteeing a $5,000 check to every American. It would be called the Doge dividend.
Yes, you heard that right. The Trump administration is currently weighing a proposal that would send each and every American taxpayer a one-time $5,000 check. According to Fox Business, Musk weighs a Doge dividend to send Americans checks using saved funds. So the way this whole thing unfolded is James Fishback, who Musk selected to serve on the Doge Advisory Committee, posted the first 4 pages of his proposal on X. And as you can see, Elon Musk replied publicly saying, "We'll check with the president." Now, to me, that suggests that Elon Musk is not the president, unlike what the media and the Democrats say. They claim that Musk is the shadow president and Trump is just a puppet. But if that was the case, I doubt that Elon Musk would have publicly said that he was checking with President Trump. But within these first 4 pages, James Fishback explains how this whole thing would work. Number 1, Doge is targeting $2 trillion in total savings. Number 2, he would take 20% of that savings, approximately $400 billion, and return it to the 79 million U.S. households that pay taxes. The other 80%, or $1.6 trillion, would be used either to reduce the deficit or to pay off the national debt. And step number 3, that initial $400 billion in Doge savings would be divided by 79 million tax-paying households, which would lead us to the aforementioned $5,000 Doge dividend. Now, in the following 2 pages, James Fishback outlines the 4 reasons why he believes the Doge dividend check is a good idea. Benefit number 1, the value of restitution, righting the wrong done to the taxpayer. The idea here is that these dividend checks would compensate American taxpayers for the egregious misuse and abuse of their hard-earned tax dollars that Doge has uncovered. Benefit number 2, sharing the benefit of cost cutting with the taxpayer. The hope here is that it would incentivize people to report instances of waste, fraud, and abuse to Doge, which would thereby increase the total amount that Doge saves and could theoretically increase the size of these dividend checks. Number 3, boost tax morale. So the hope is that these dividend checks would restore the public trust between taxpayers and their government, restoring the social contract and increase tax morale all around. And benefit number 4, incentivizing labor force participation. Because these dividend checks would only be going to taxpayers, the conditional nature of the tax refund would hopefully incentivize people to join the labor force, make sure that they're working. Obviously, a big proposal has even bigger concerns. And so James Fishback spent the 4th page of his proposal answering the 2 questions you probably have on your mind right now. Question number 1, wouldn't this be inflationary? He argues it wouldn't be for 2 reasons. Number 1, these checks would be exclusively funded with Doge-driven savings, unlike the COVID stimulus checks, which were deficit financed. And number 2, these checks would only be sent to tax-paying households, and people who pay taxes have demonstrated a propensity to save and not spend the tax refunds they receive. Now, the second question is, won't the Doge dividend check increase the deficit? Again, he argues no for 2 various reasons. Number 1, the checks are contingent on spending cuts. Essentially, this is money that has already been appropriated by Congress, but instead of spending it, the first 80% would either be used to reduce the deficit or pay off the national debt, and the remaining 20% would essentially be a tax refund. And then his second argument is that this entire process could potentially, if it does incentivize more people to return to the workforce, increase tax receipts. Now, I understand the argument that he's making, but personally I'm a little conflicted because while all of those arguments and reasonings sound good, I do have concerns and questions of my own. Number 1, I'm concerned that this could potentially be a slippery slope to a UBI, a universal basic income. If people are used to the government writing checks willy-nilly, what happens when the next version of Bernie Sanders comes along and proposes a UBI? People are going to be used to that, and I'm just afraid that that slippery slope could become a reality. Number 2, what about people who are retired and no longer pay income taxes? I mean, they've paid taxes their entire lives, they've paid into Social Security, and if these Doge dividend checks are only for current taxpayers, what about those people? Don't they get screwed over? I mean, there are so many questions here. So I don't want to issue a judgment. It's one of those things where obviously the administration is going to look at it. Maybe Trump will strike it down immediately, or maybe they'll investigate it further. And if they give this consideration, I hope that they're transparent with the American people about their thinking, about the pros and the cons. And that leads to today's question of the day. What do you think about the proposal? Do you support it? Are you against it? Do you share the same concerns? Do you have different concerns? I'm not here to try to convince you one way or the other. Like, what I presented is how I see the situation, all the facts that I was able to come across. I shared them with you, and so let me know your thoughts. What would you want to hear from the administration before you make up your mind on this? But of course, the mainstream media is doing what the mainstream media does, and that's pushing a narrative. Instead of reporting the facts and providing analysis, instead of doing investigative journalism to weigh the pros and cons and examine what this could potentially mean, they're trying to shape public opinion. According to the Washington Post, Musk's interest in Doge dividend checks face widespread skepticism. And their whole argument with that article is that Doge is unlikely, according to them, to reach their $2 trillion goal. And these $5,000 dividend checks are based on, $2 trillion in savings, right? Because 20% of that would be used for the checks. Well, within that argument, the Washington Post actually gets their facts wrong. Within the article, they say, so far, Doge has reduced government spending by, at most, $4 billion. They're off by an order of magnitude. So far, Doge has saved $50 billion, not $4 billion. Here is Scott Bessent, head of the Treasury, on Fox News.
Let's talk about Doge. How much money do you think really is going to come from this Doge effort? Well, first of all, let's start with, do we know how much money has come from it so far?
I think I saw an estimate today of about 50 billion. So that's a very good start. And I don't think it's unreasonable to think that we could have several percent of GDP that we are saving. That it's incredible to me. As you said, I've just been in the building a couple of weeks, but the 25% of the U.S. economy flows through Washington, D.C. And again, the waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think for the first time in my lifetime, we're going to see a proper accounting. And as the leading bond salesman for the United States, I got a pretty good story to tell that if we can do this cost cutting, if we can grow the economy, then President Trump is going to live up to all his promises.
So not only do you have Trump and Musk touting that $50 billion figure, but now you have the head of the Treasury saying the exact same thing. Now, I know a lot of Democrats are going to say, well, they're just reading from the same sheet music. They're just all on the same page. It's all propaganda. But even Bloomberg News, and Bloomberg, by the way, is not a very pro-Trump or Trump-friendly outlet. They touted this $50 billion figure as well, and there was zero pushback on that network.
Jennifer, when it comes to Doge, Scott Bessent was asked by Bret Baier last night on Fox News about where the spending savings are coming from, and he said he saw a draft that there's already $50 billion. Do you think that's accurate? Already 1 month in, they found $50 billion that they're saving?
Well, I think it's more than 1 month in. I think a lot of this has been prepared during the transition, even for the last year. I mean, I think it's really important to note that the president's former OMB, Office of Management and Budget Director, Russ Vought, is back in his office. He has been very busy over the past several years. I think a lot of this is sort of known to them going in. I think there's a reason why he's targeting the places that Elon Musk is targeting.
Yeah, you'll notice she never denied or she never tried to fight that $50 billion figure. What she instead pushed back on was the time frame. She said, well, it's actually more than a month because they've been preparing for this before Trump was even inaugurated. So she tried to debunk the 1 month statistic, not the dollar amount. So to me, I found that pretty interesting. By the way, small detail in case you missed it. Yes, he is sleeping with his tongue hanging out of his mouth. That happens whenever he's in a deep, deep sleep. We went on a quick run right before I filmed this video, so he is pooped, and it's like really snowy outside, so he ran in the snow, and I think he's just in a deep sleep. But yeah, I'm not against this idea at all. I just have very serious concerns that I hope are answered and given consideration before this proposal takes effect, if it does take effect and is implemented. So if this proposal becomes reality, it wouldn't be the first time that this has happened here in the States. In Alaska, each citizen actually gets a dividend check from the Alaskan state government. According to the Associated Press, this past tax year, Alaskans get a $1,312 oil dividend check this year. The political cost of the benefit is high, and apparently that started under Governor Sarah Palin. Her reasoning, her logic was, well, hey, the oil, the gas that's up here in Alaska, that is Alaskan land, and I believe that belongs to all residents of the state. Like, that should be shared prosperity for all of us. So she started those dividends, and almost a decade later, or maybe over a decade later at this point, those dividend checks are still going, and Alaskans get over $1,000 via check in the mail each year. And from what I understand, Alaska's government is in pretty good shape. But at the end of the day, we need to remember the purpose of Doge in the first place. While these dividend checks sound great, we need to keep our eye on the ball and remember that the whole point is to cut wasteful spending to hopefully get the budget under control. Now, one of the ways that that's happening is reducing spending in these over-bloated budgets. According to the Washington Post, Trump administration orders Pentagon to plan for sweeping budget cuts. And apparently, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has made an announcement that they are going to plan to reduce the Pentagon budget by 8% every year for the next 5 years. Now, that's not actually going to be 40%. If I recall correctly from math classes, this is actually a compound reduction. So in the course of 5 years, this should be a 34.1% decrease in the Pentagon budget. Okay, so just imagine with me here for a moment. Let's say that all of the above happens. Let's say that, yes, Trump reduces wasteful spending by a ton. And yes, Doge dividend checks become reality. What's going to happen? Well, that will be political gold for not just Trump, but the entire Republican Party. And based on where things stand right now, that could be electoral success for years, if not decades to come. Take a look at these recent findings from CNN.
Donald Trump and the Republican Party has changed the electorate. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look at party identification, Democrats versus Republicans. You go back to 2017, 5 points more of the electorate was Democrats than Republicans. You go to 2021 when Joe Biden was starting out, look at that, 6 points more of the electorate was Democrats than Republicans. But look at what's happened in February of 2025. Look at this. Republicans, there are more Republicans in the electorate than there are Democrats. Republican +2. So Donald Trump and the Republicans have remade the electorate. They've turned some people over from being Democrats or independents to become Republicans. New folks have entered the electorate who are more Republican leaning. And so when you combine that with the fact that Republicans are really, really behind Donald Trump, all of a sudden you get a winning recipe whereby you break the normal rules of politics and give Donald Trump that positive net approval rating when he had pretty much a consistently negative one in term number one. As I said at the beginning, he's copying Frank Sinatra, doing it my way.
Yeah, Trump and the Republicans have the support of the electorate right now, but it's up to him to maintain that support and to grow that support and hopefully maintain the momentum. If Trump doesn't fulfill these promises, then that's when approval ratings start to get rocky. But so far, it appears that he's delivering on all his core messages. So that gives me hope that whatever comes of this proposal, it will hopefully work out to be in the best interest of the American people. Now, with all these news stories, we could always use some levity in the day. So I would like to bring up George Santos. I know he has some credibility problems. However, just because someone's a liar, it doesn't mean that they lie about everything. He was on a podcast recently, and he was asked about who the stinkiest person in Congress is. And no matter what you think about his credibility, personally, I thought he was telling the truth in this segment, and I thought it was pretty funny.
Who has the worst breath in Congress?
That's so, oh my God. I don't think I can say it.
Come on, who cares? They're not helping you. What are they doing for you? And it's just an opinion. What are they going to do, sue you for saying they need a mint?
I mean, I feel kind of conflicted saying.
No, they didn't feel conflicted talking 2 inches from your face.
Okay, so I can say this
Sure.
with no mental reservation.
Sure.
The worst body odor in Congress is definitely Jerry Nadler.
Really?
It's so bad. It's so bad, dude.
Jerry Nadler stinks.
Dude, he stinks, and when he and Jerry Nadler would waddle down that aisle and crop dust it, like it was every step of his waddle was a fart. But dude, the dude just stinks.
I don't know why, but I just believe every single word of that. Do you? But that, again, that's not the question of the day. Yes, let me know if you believe that. But again, going back to the question of the day, your thoughts on the Doge dividend checks. I truly am, I would say I'm 55% for, with a very strong 45% reservations and hesitancy on that. And that 10% could swing either way like that. I really am pretty much right down the middle without being 50-50. If you haven't already, please be sure to join the like button party. I know it's a simple thing to ask for, but it really does help me reach more viewers like you in the algorithm. Be sure to smash that subscribe button and to check out one of these 2 videos.